Hey, welcome everybody into Bridging the Seen and Unseen. I am Shane McLain. I am your host, and this is the wonderful Gwen. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
See, you notice what you don't do. You don't ever ask me how I'm doing or what I'm,
Well,
because I don't complain. Because if I try to complain,
it
you
don't do
know,
that
yeah, I'm gonna get it. My wife's here, so I don't know.
That's the
But
perks of being single, all right? I don't have to worry about
well,
that.
I don't know. I don't know because I've thought about that. I used to think about that all the time, and I'm like, you know, what would I be doing if I was single? Because I've been with Angie. The 25th of this month will be 17 years we've been together, and the 27th of this month will be 9 or 10 years married. So, I mean, she's the fifth person I've ever been with my whole life.
And you got a good one this time.
Yeah, and I've only been, like I said, I'm 48 years old. I've only been with five people. That's including girlfriends my entire life. Um, I just I had sisters, and I watched guys run all over them, and I had friends do the same thing, and I was like, I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. If I'm going to be with somebody, I'm going to be with someone for the long run. I'm not going to be in for the short kind of like, I've never liked that. I've never liked it, and,
Listen up, guys. This is what makes a real guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Angie and I, I still open doors for her. I still run her bath. This is 17 years later. Yeah, 10 years married. Yeah, you hear her. See, that's what makes me know if I start complaining right there, she's outside and she came back in to answer from out there. So, but tonight, I'm really excited because the guest that we have is a fantastic representation of exactly what I like to talk about because she's fascinating.
I've been excited, that we got her on.
She's fascinating. I mean, her bio speaks for itself, and not only that, but I mean, just the people that know her, where she's been, where she's going, and stuff like that. So let's bring the human Ouija board on, Bianca Rose.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, we appreciate you being on. Thank you for taking time to spend with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We always start out pretty, just if you can just start by telling people who you are and a little bit about yourself, that'll be great.
Absolutely. So my name obviously is Medium Bianca Rose. I was born here on Long Island. I grew up in a town called Patchogue, and I still live out here on the East End. A lot of people like to refer to me as the human Ouija board because most of my life, what spirits would do is they would take my hand and make me kind of start writing, like usually, like this. Pretty much as if you were going from letter to letter, as if you are a planchette, but instead, obviously, writing words. Similar to what people would do, automatic writing.
Right.
But it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. Lately, though, this year, it makes me sad because I noticed that during my readings or during a lot of gallery readings, I'm not doing that as much anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm like evolving or transforming or whatever it may be, but I noticed that I'm not doing it as frequent. And that's okay because everything is still the same. We're still giving the same information. It's just I think I'm becoming quicker than my body could keep up. So my hand's not going to be able to keep up with the information that is being delivered while I'm doing my readings. So that's why I'm called the human Ouija board.
Well, yeah, that's fascinating because I've seen people, with a piece of paper like draw circles when they're connecting, they like draw circles or they do these little designs or whatever. And you said that you do words, but then you said that you found yourself not doing it as much. Is it maybe because maybe you're listening? Are people coming with the same
I
like
honestly,
the same
I
things?
look at this. So I look at this from like a perspective of, yes, this is spiritual, this is bizarre, this is unexplainable to a degree, but I really look at this from a, no, I'm not a scientist at all, and I was a very, very bad student growing up. But I look at this from a perspective of neuroscience. I believe this is all stuff that is going through the body. We are like this human antenna. We are this radio station. So I think what's happening is that my body can't keep up with the information that is being delivered. So it's moving so fast through every energetic layer of my entire body that at this point in time, my hand just can't keep up with. It's just it's going too fast.
Right.
So the information, it goes through the circuit at such a high rate of speed that my hand can't. It's a
Can't keep
disservice to
up.
myself. Yes, it's
Yeah.
a disservice to myself. It's a disservice to them for me to sit there and try to have them write out the full words when I could allow them to move so much quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
that does make sense. When did you find out that you actually had this ability?
I would say the age of 5 is when
Really, that
there's a
young?
possibility. Yeah, there's a possibility of that's when it starts to switch. Who knows? Who knows what I'm doing as a baby? But the thing is, I can't retain much memories from the age of 5 to the age of 13. It's very, very blank to a degree.
Mhm.
There's only certain things that I'm able to retain, only because of how traumatic it was growing up. Um, but 13 is because that's when it really hits hard and it becomes very prominent that there's something so different about me and who I am and what I'm doing. Now the whole Ouija board thing, what would happen is if I'm not paying attention to someone who's coming around me, what's going to happen is they're going to take my hand and I'll notice involuntarily that my hand will start to trace a figure eight or it'll start doing circles. And I'll
Mhm.
be doing it like say on like the leg of my pants or like on a surface. And I'll be like, oh, someone's here right now, and I'm
Almost
ignoring them.
fidgeting. Almost.
It's like a way of getting my attention. Yes, it's like
Yeah.
this really strange, bizarre way of grabbing my attention. But when you were referencing how people do that scribbling or the circling, I could understand why so many people do that while they're doing the readings because it's taking your brain out of that analytical state, that logical state. It's kind of switching the brain into this off mode where you are kind of disengaging from your own body and you're allowing yourself to go into this flow state. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
that's interesting
It
because,
does.
like, I talk to other people, and I love hearing, the stories of how things get started like this and when it gets started. That's why, like, I'm clergy and I work inside the paranormal. But I get very deep premonitions and visions, and I've gotten them. You're going to see a bunch of cats too, Bianca. So I mean, just
You might see one of them with me at some point. She's sleeping, but she might get crazy and start doing wild things.
yeah. But when you start seeing 20 of them, then you're going to be like, man, what is this guy?
It's okay. I love kitties. I love all the animals.
Yeah. See, I've got them right here. See, but but I get these premonitions and these visions, but they're never good. And I've had this conversation with other people, but they've saved my mom's life.
Well, that's the
They've
whole purpose
saved,
of those
and
images
that's what
coming to
that's
you.
what I figured out. And I used to think that I didn't want to have them because I was like, why can't I have like a premonition or vision of something that I look forward to? Because like when I get these, they happen so fast, and it's like a dream state, and
Mhm.
my anxiety hits so bad that if I don't say something, that I'll almost have a panic attack.
So you're not technically having a panic attack or anxiety in that moment. What's happening is you are connecting to the energy of what is going to be happening. So your body is acknowledging that what is going to be happening or what could be happening is a stressful moment, an emotional moment, whatever it may be. Now, what you're doing is you are processing even though it's not yours, you are being delivered this is beyond just seeing, this is also feeling. So yes, you are having that vision, but also your body, it goes through the body first we feel it before we see it or hear it. So
Mm-hmm.
sorry, messages. So
It's
first
okay.
you're going to feel it in the body before you hear it and before you see it. So you're processing the emotion and then it's hitting your brain at such a fast rate. So you're feeling what's about to be happening and those aren't your emotions. So after you deliver the message, that's why that feeling of anxiety, it uplifts because it's not yours to begin with. Does that make sense?
Right. Right. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I think it's
But
important though that you're receiving those.
well, I used to think that and you can even ask Gwen, I've been with this network for quite a while. And when I first started, I used to tell her and everybody, I'm like, I wish I didn't get them, because
I
it was,
understand that.
it freaked me out because it was like, but I was like, well, I mean, if I'm only going to get things that are bad, that I mean, like I was in the car with my mother and we were in the left hand lane and a car was next to us, and I can still remember to this day the mom and the kid was in the back seat and the kid was waving at me, and I saw it in slow motion, and they were really there. And for some reason I had a vision right then at a stoplight, and I saw a bad accident, a bad accident. And I was like, and I came out of it and I said, Mom, I said, listen, whatever you do not go when that light turns green. Do not. And she said, what are you talking about? Are you serious? What are you talking about? And the light turned green and I said, stop right now, stop. And then the car next to us went, and this kid that had waved at me, they were going through the light, and a 6-wheel dually truck ran the light on a left-hand turn and T-boned that car and pinned them up against a concrete pole, killed the guy and the truck and both the mom and the kid.
I have, but the whole before you even got to like the end of the story, full body chills the entire time, just so you know, which I call those confirmation chills, just
Mhm.
to
Every
confirm that
time I
what you
hear
are
it.
saying is real.
Yep.
Yeah, full body chills. But that was important. That was extremely important. There's no reason to always deliver us those great messages, great visions of these beautiful things that are going to happen in the future. Because what's the point of that? You don't need to change the trajectory of that outcome, but you're being presented some heavy situations because you are an outlet, you are a radio, you are someone who's capable of receiving that information in hopes of possibly changing that outcome. So if ever when I have to do a reading, if there is a message of so and so is not well, they will be passing soon, however they end up, whatever the reason is for their passing that is coming up, I have to deliver that message. I would never not deliver that message. As heavy that is, as heavy as that is, I have to warn this individual that so and so is going to be passing soon because it was presented to me for a good reason. Maybe they need closure, maybe they need to have that opportunity to say goodbye or just be able to spend, X amount of time with them before they do pass. So I think these moments, the heaviest of moments for people like us, it's so important because we are the ones that are chosen or whatever it may be to deliver that. We have to do it, you know?
Yeah, no, and with you being in the paranormal field, like have you found this to be like helpful or toxic? Helping. I mean, like, do you go on locations before they get there or during while they're there?
So both. I will go to the locations while people are there, while people are not there, um, all the variations. And when it comes to working in the paranormal industry, I don't think it's toxic or bad at all, depending on what. There's toxic and bad in every single
Yeah, yeah.
genre in life, everywhere, you know. But when it
True.
comes to the paranormal, I do meet a lot of psychic work in the spiritual realm as well. Think like holistic expos, you know, Reiki, healing. People want to receive readings to find out about the past, present, and future, or they want to connect to their loved ones. So I work in that community, and there's toxic stuff in that community. And then I also work in the paranormal community where there's toxic stuff in that community. But I do meet a lot of mediums, and they always say, they're always so surprised when I tell them that I work in the paranormal industry. Most of them think I'm absolutely out of their mind, that I'm absolutely out of my mind, and they can't ever understand why I would ever want to send myself to these scary, terrifying places and connect to these beings or whatever. And
Mhm.
to me, it's the same thing, whether I'm connecting to this woman's grandma this week or the random lady that died in some mansion somewhere. You know, for me, it doesn't matter. Everything is the same for me. Yes, there is some scary, scary things that I get to encounter working in the paranormal industry. I don't think I'm crazy at all. I really love it. But the difference between me and them is most of them didn't have to live and experience the type of upbringing that I had to experience. They just knew they
Mhm.
had a gift, they experienced spirit and so forth. Me, it's a whole different realm. I was literally like forged in fire. I had to experience the most brutal, terrifying things that you could possibly imagine. My entire childhood is literally like the Conjuring movies. So
Mhm.
I had this purpose long before I even decided that I would ever even want to engage in something like this. I literally had no choice. Like I was literally brought into this world and raised through the darkness to prepare myself for being medium Bianca Rose one day, if that makes sense.
Wow, wow. That's fascinating to me, and like you said, I'm clergy, so I work in the paranormal field too. I work residential cases. Um, I help people, with learning how to ground, protect, clear, and cleanse. I've studied theology for 30 years. I've got a doctor of theology. My goal is to help people. And like this podcast, for instance, this podcast was created to bridge the gap between paranormal and clergy
I love that.
Yeah.
because I wanted the paranormal field to know that we are not here to call every haunting a demon. We are
Exactly.
not here to believe that everything is demonic. And if you've got an issue, that there are clergy out here that are willing to step in where you are and help you right where you are. And I'm one of
I
those
wish
people.
I love that. I wish I had that when I was younger. I grew up in a very, very Catholic household, you know, old world Italians. I grew up, you know, baptism, confirmation, communion, literally even youth group every Thursday night. So that is
Yeah.
my entire childhood upbringing, Long Island, Italian, New Yorker. But growing up when these things were happening to me, I didn't have that
You don't
outlet.
have
I didn't
anybody
get
to talk to.
right. When I did bring it up, when all of this was addressed, it was very much dismissed and it was looked at as if I was absolutely crazy. But I don't want to blame the church. I would blame more of my family. No offense to them. And I would definitely blame like school district, you know,
Mhm.
that aspect of the community of why I end up going really, really south and really off the deep end because I didn't I didn't get the help I needed. Nobody believed me. And then things got really, really bad. Like,
And I
way
want to
bad.
apologize from the church, that you did experience that, because the heart of the church is to follow the heart of God. And to follow the heart of God, you have to listen to the commandments of God. And the commandments is to love God with all your heart, your soul, your mind. That's the first. And the second is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that's the problem that people have. My prayer every day is that I wake up to see and to love people the way that God does. And
I think a
if
lot
I
of
can,
things, though,
and believe me, some of the worst and best people that I've ever met in my entire life are in church every single Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. I don't want to blame the church. I want to blame my parents. No offense. Um, but what did you just say that sounded so, oh, as you love, a lot of people need to love thy neighbor as they love themselves.
Yeah,
A lot of people do not love themselves.
I
They
know.
don't know what it's really like to actually love themselves unconditionally for everything that they are, the bad and the good, you know?
And a lot of times, people forget who they are. When I'm working with a family and say you get a demonic case, which is very rare, out of 1,000%, 1% might be demonic, might be. But if you're dealing with a demonic, exorcisms are always, I am an exorcist, but it's always your last resort, to go. But my goal is to tap into the person that is originally there. Because if I can tap into that person, even during the fact of being demonically oppressed or infected, if you tap into that person, then they can help fight with you to help bring them out of what they're dealing with.
I got chills just now.
And as you can see, I'm a Knights Templar. So we are I'm part of a royal kingdom, as being in the church.
Mhm.
We're apostolic. So we really look at like traditions as far as the apostles in the first century. And
I love that.
I think that's where the church has lost its go. Because it's not about showing the love of God anymore. It's about putting on a show.
I
And
agree.
and I got called in to spiritual warfare ministry off a dream. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but I was literally at a white picket fence, and on this side was God and all his angels, and on the other side was the devil and all his demons. And I'm sitting on this side of the fence, and I yelled across. I said, "You see, I'm on God's side." And the devil laughed at me, and he says, "But I own the fence."
I got chills again.
Mm.
So
And that does not sound crazy at all, by the way.
Mm-mm.
and that let me know right then. And because see, I was a full-time pastor in the church. I had the 40,000 to 50,000 a year for preaching, stuff like that. I stepped down, from preaching, because people in the church will preach Ephesians 6, spiritual warfare, would have not the first clue what it means to truly put on the full armor of God.
I could
And
understand.
and 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 I refuse to allow God's house, you know, to be a show, you know, for people that are suffering.
I agree.
And I won't do it. I won't. I'm very real, very authentic. The way that you see me here, I'm the same way. I'm the same way at home. I'm the same way when I'm talking to people. I mean, if you are not authentic with other people and somebody can point that out, then you do have an issue there. And I don't think you are in the ability to help anybody if you have to have people question your integrity of who you are.
I definitely agree.
So, but enough about me there. Um, do you work like residentials, like do you keep it strictly in the paranormal field?
No, no, definitely not strictly. I'm medium Bianca Rose. I do this is all I do for our living, hobby, everything. I live and breathe this every day. So I
That's
do readings, whether it's on Zoom or in person. Obviously, I have Zoom as well because I have clients all over the world. Occasionally, I have that client who needs to get on the phone because they cannot figure out Zoom. That's totally cool. So I'll do a lot of readings to connect people to their loved ones on the other side, or they need a psychic reading, which could be a whole mix of both. You know, it could be both. Most of the time, honestly, it's a mix of both. It is both mediumship because we are connecting to people's loved ones. I like to do everything in order. I will go through the entire list of all the people on the other side one at a time, and then I'll move into the person's life, who they are, what do they do for a living, how many kids do they have, boys, girls, miscarriages, terminations, grandchildren, pets, etc., etc., etc. So that's my reading. On top of that, I go to people's homes to do house clearings, whether we're just clearing out some nasty energy because there was a divorce, or maybe there's something happening in the house that they really cannot explain. So I will do that as well, which honestly is a mixture of Reiki, because I'm a Reiki practitioner,
Okay.
as
All right.
well as intention. I'll do it all counterclockwise. I'll have some herbs that I'll be burning while I'm literally raking and clearing out every single room in the house.
That was
So
my
I do
next
that as
question I was
well.
going to ask you is how that worked.
Yeah.
How that worked for you? You like doing residentials like that. Like
The
how
house.
would that work if a family contacted you with that bad energy or something like that? How would that work for you?
So I have that as a booking option on my website where people will go and book their house clearings. There's a section where they can write me a note in the notes if they need to. If they don't, I will reach out to them to inquire because I need to know what I'm bringing there. And I need to
Right.
know what my intention is going there so I can prepare my body properly. This isn't me going in to do a reading where I'm going in completely blind. Like I need to know why you're calling me to your house. So if it is something that's heavy and nasty that they can't figure out, I'm bringing holy water with me, number one. I'm bringing my Aunt Mary. She left me these beautiful rosary beads from Italy. I'll bring that with me because I was raised Catholic. Even though
Yeah.
I don't adhere by it and practice weekly and go to church the way I did growing up, it's still a part of my it's still part of me, and I think it's something really important that I have to incorporate when I'm dealing with something that is possibly demonic or evil, whatever it may be.
Saint
I
Benedict
will also
medallions.
I definitely need one of those.
Yeah,
And I'll bring
I
a mixture of some herbs. You know, sage depending. I have learned from other from demonologists that you should not use sage
no.
in
I
exactly.
don't.
So
I don't.
I exactly. So I have other herbs and stuff that are meant for, say, breaking curses or banishing or exorcisms. I have quite a cabinet upstairs in my house. Everything is labeled where these herbs, would be used for. So I will bring something to burn it in, and I'll walk with that burning it throughout the house. I do the entire house counterclockwise and each room counterclockwise, including any doorways, TVs, microwaves, ovens, anything that's like a doorway. It's very thorough. So it could take me a few hours, it could take me an hour, depending how big the house is and what I'm being even called in for. Often I am being called into people's homes because they get a divorce and they want me to clear out the energy because they need to now put up the house for sale and, all the things. Or I'm being called in because people's children are terrified and there's something in their home. If I can't get rid of it, exactly. If I can't get rid of it, and I've only encountered this once, I work with Long Island paranormal investigators. Currently, I am the medium that they use. I do not get paid to work with them. They are a nonprofit. So I am fully a part of Long Island Paranormal Investigators. So there's been this one occasion where I had to bring them in, and they had to do a few investigations in my client's home because I couldn't get it out of the house. And what happened with them is they ended up selling their home and they moved to a different house. And at that house, there was an old lady who passed away, and she's nice and sweet and is, she's a soul. So it's okay that she is there in their home versus whatever was in that other house. But otherwise, all of my clearings have always been successful, except for that one. I am on good terms with them. I love them. They're a beautiful family. They're good and they're doing well. So that's what my whole house clearings look like. Or if I'm getting called into a home, private residential, to do a paranormal investigation, I'm either going in on Long Island, I'm either going in with Long Island paranormal investigators, but there has been times where I can be called in privately without Long Island paranormal investigators.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone by yourself? Like without anybody?
Yeah, so all of my in-person readings are typically scheduled at the client's home here on Long Island. Very rarely will I have them meet me at like a local coffee shop or something if they prefer that option. Maybe it's too busy at the house, too many animals, too many kids. Maybe they just don't want me coming to their home. But all of my in-person sessions are privately. I'm brought to the home. I don't know where I'm going ever. They send me the address right before me going to the home, a day or two prior. I don't ever want the full name. It's just a first name and where I'm going. I do bring a taser in my vehicle. God forbid there's a taser in my vehicle world for whoever's listening to this. But I've always had I've always been safe. I've always been good. But I go to the clients' homes. I don't have an office. I never wanted to be, I never wanted to be a psychic medium to begin with, but I never wanted to be like the medium on the side of the road with the flashing sign. No offense to anybody out there who has their own shop. That's everyone to each their own. But for me, it's just not something that would work for me at this point in my life. I don't have a set location. I travel monthly, sometimes multiple times a month. So for me, it's just so much easier to be the medium that travels all over,
Yeah, you're sought after quite a bit.
I'm very grateful. I am beyond grateful. It is beautiful. It is like honestly the biggest honor, truly.
I mean, Bianca, I know 40 different platforms in the paranormal community, and every single one of them know you.
It is an honor. That's all I could say. Honestly, it's such an honor. I say it all the time. Honestly, there's days where I get like emotional and I'll just start crying, like to myself, like a weirdo that I am. Like I'll start crying because I'm so in awe and I'm so blown away by the life that I have lived. Like if anyone really knew the life I lived and what I had to go through, what I had to live through to be where I am today, I don't think 98% of those people would never be able to survive what I've been through.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change any of it because I know for a fact that those horrific things that I had to live through led to where I am today. It all had a big purpose. But I don't know, I get so blown away sometimes. I'm like, I thank the other side all the time. I'm like, thank you for the most disturbing, tragic things that I had to live through to be where I am today, because it's such an honor. It's so beautiful, and it's really so amazing sometimes the things that I get to experience, the things that I get to bring to other people, both here in the living and on the other side. I don't think anyone realizes sometimes, like, I don't know. I get blown away. I go home sometimes from people's houses and I'm like, did I really just experience that? Did that really just happen? Like, it's hard to wrap my brain around this sometimes. It's truly mind blowing.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that if you didn't experience what you did is in your childhood, do you think you would be where you are today?
I don't I don't think so. I don't think so. I couldn't see it another way. Like, I couldn't see my life being where I am right now without all of that, because I don't know how I would have gotten to here without that. It really did play such a huge piece.
So when did what age were you when you found out this is the trajectory of my life? This is it right here. This is the road that I'm on, and this is the road that I was called to be on. What age were you that you actually knew that?
When it finally hit me, like when
Yeah.
reality finally hit me, and I realized that I do not have schizophrenia, that I am not crazy, that I am not extremely delusional and, living in some weird alternative universe that I've created myself. I would say 30 years old. So I just turned 36. I would say 30 years old is where it really became real, through someone else being able to tell me, like, this is real. Your entire life has been real. You're not crazy. You're not schizophrenic. You are not sick. You are not ill.
You're definitely
So
not. You're definitely not. You're very eloquent. You're
I
very well spoken. I mean,
thank you.
mhm.
But growing up, growing up in the 90s, and you,
Oh, I
you
know.
sneeze wrong, if you sneeze or breathe wrong, it is the devil.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know, my whole life, I'm very attracted to women, not just men. So that was the devil. Seeing
Oh,
spirits, that's the devil. Like, literally dressing different, that's the devil. So when you're constantly shut down your entire life, throughout your childhood, throughout your teens, you begin to believe what is being told to you. It's literally your brain has been rewired by society to believe that you are not well, that you are crazy, that you are not good enough, that anything you do is never going to amount to anything. When that is being fed to you on a daily basis, it rewires your brain. You begin to
We have
believe
to
that.
break
That
that
is,
stigma. We have to break
well,
that
I
stigma with people.
exactly, that is what I teach clients on the more spirit on the spiritual side of my work. I teach my clients this. People who are really struggling with their mental health, with their confidence, with their well-being. I explain to them, you need a daily practice. Every
yeah.
single morning when you first wake up, the first thing you should do before anything else, when you are half asleep making your coffee, is you should turn on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever it may be, and you need to listen to positive affirmations. You need to start rewiring your brain. Even if you're listening to it unconsciously while you're sleeping with headphones on, it's going to start to rewire your brain again. So you do realize that you are the shit, that you are amazing, that you are great, that you are worthy. I really think that's the basis here. You need to start putting that on a loop in your head. So that is something I do teach people when it comes to people who are still struggling, who are still in the dark, who don't have the courage yet to finally step out of that, box that they've kind of placed themselves in, or maybe someone else placed them in. But that is something I now teach, and I do realize, what could happen to you growing up, and how you definitely can change it. You don't have to stay there. But growing up in the 90s, I believed I was absolutely nuts for a very, very long time. I hit 30 years old. A huge mentor of mine, somebody I very much look up to, her name is Medium Fleur. She is fantastic. She's brilliant. She's very spiritual. She's this great medium. but she's also very science-based, and that's where I learned the whole neuroscience thing from. I've learned so much from her, just watching her. I've never mentored with her. I would never be able to afford her prices, but she's so good. And during the height of COVID, I got 2 readings from her for free. I won when we were all locked in our houses. So maybe 2019. I won a reading. I won. I got to go live with Medium Fleur. She wasn't able to tour because we're all locked down in our houses, and she did a live gallery on Instagram, and thousands of people were watching that live. And I wanted one thing. I told my entire family to make sure they watch this live, and then I said to the other side, if you could do one thing for me today, you need to make sure that someone brings up that I could talk to the dead, because this needs to be outed already. This needs to be brought up. This needs to be spoken about. And my cousin who overdosed, he comes through, he does all his things, talks about all these crazy, amazing things. And at the very end, he tells Fleur to tell me, Bianca, you need to understand something. You can communicate with the dead. This is
She
real.
came out and said that?
Yes, this is what she's saying from my cousin. So my cousin's telling her to tell me this. Like, this is real. You could communicate with the dead. You've done this your whole life. And what's about to happen is you are about to go on this journey, and you are going to be helping thousands of people in the world. And I was like crying. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, it is finally being acknowledged live in front of thousands of people nonetheless. And my family was watching. I needed that so bad. The second I received that message, I made a promise to myself that I was going to change my entire life for this gift. I smoked my last cigarette that night. I slowly weaned myself off of cannabis because I love cannabis. I still love cannabis, but I was pulling myself away from that. And then I stopped eating red meat and pork. And I promised myself to make sure that my body was this perfect container for spirits to speak through me. And then from there, I went on this entire crazy journey to make sure that I refined myself 100% to be this clear tool for the other side. But then I won tickets again to see Fleur for the second time during the height of COVID. I went and got that lovely Johnson and Johnson shot, the 2-for-1 special, which I would never get that in a million years, but I did it because I needed to be fully vaccinated to see her live in New York City, in Manhattan. They were not going to let me in with that one shot, and I prayed and prayed to my people, you better do something about this. And the security came out and they were like, listen, you're good. We're going to get you inside. And they brought me in. And I was like, what the hell? I was blown away. I get in the audience. Who gets to get read in this huge audience in New York City, in Manhattan? Me, for the second time, by Medium Fleur. She comes through again, reading me. And this time it's my dad, quote unquote. He's not really my dad, but I call him my dad. He comes through. And again, the same message. And this lady does not remember me. She meets so many people. And the same message came through. Like he was just going on and on about how I'm going to be this amazing medium and how I'm going to be talking to thousands and thousands and thousands of people throughout the entire world. And I'm crying in the audience again, because I couldn't believe, like, my whole life, everything that I had to live through. And I always thought I was crazy. I really believed I was schizophrenic throughout high school. Like, I thought something was really wrong. So that was the most important 2 pivoting moments in my entire life to wake me up, to be like, holy shit, wake up already. Like, your whole life has been real. Just everyone around you has been literally shutting you down the entire time because they can't wrap their brains around that. They're not able to perceive what you're able to perceive. So
Their perception of what you saw was completely different. And so, perception is reality. So I mean, if they are looking at you one way, you're never going to be able to change the way that they look. The only thing that you could do is change the way that you respond to those people.
Right. But my mom has the gift. She's just terrified of it. And I have a lot of questions about my ancestors, and I've been poking and prying lately. And the Italian side, they won't talk about it. I tried to get my parents to start digging, and the aunts keep hanging up the phone going, we don't talk about this stuff. We don't talk about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to talk about it because I have a lot of theories, and I started digging recently. And then on my mom's side, I don't know too much because my grandma was Jewish. She married into a Catholic Italian, her husband, Catholic Italian. She was Jewish. She was exiled from her family. So I don't know anything about the Jewish side of my family through my mom's roots. So all I know is my Italian roots on my dad's side. That's what I grew up around. They don't speak English. And we don't talk about this stuff, apparently. We don't talk about the
Forget
evil
about it.
eye. Exactly. I can't get anyone to talk about it with me. I want to know. I have so many questions. I'll figure it out eventually.
It's the same way in the South. It's the same way.
I grew up in the 90s too. I graduated high school in 95. And Bianca, you are the farthest thing from schizophrenic. And I mean, when you were growing up in like high school and stuff like that, like were you able to talk to your friends about your gifts?
No, that's where it started to get even weirder. I remember this girl, I was best friends with her. I probably stopped talking to her around 10th grade because that's when things got really, really bad for me. But I remember one of the last things she ever said to me was, I think you're schizophrenic. You probably should go and get some help. And that was the day I decided I'm going to stop telling people that I could talk to the dead because it wasn't coming
Is that
across.
how you would tell them? Or do you?
I would tell them like my experiences, like what I was seeing in my house, what was happening, the things that were happening all the time. So when I say my childhood was like the Conjuring movies, it was like the Conjuring movies. I lived through a real demonic experience. No one in this industry, that's not true, but there 90%, most of the percent of the individuals that I get to meet who do work in the paranormal industry, who are on paranormal teams, who investigate, none of them have ever experienced a demonic haunting before. They've never experienced it, and they never will experience it. The only person I know for sure that has experienced it is like Dave Giuliano, but he's an exorcism. Yeah, he's an exorcist, so he has to do exorcisms. So, and then yourself. And I feel like working with Long Island Paranormal Investigators, I know the co-founder, Mike, and Shannon Collins worked on I could bring up 2 cases, 2 experiences for them where they had some insane encounter. One was folklore, woods based, and one was a residential case. Those are the only stories that I could pull up in my brain right now where I know individuals who can be like, oh yeah, I have experienced a demonic haunting or a demonic case.
I mean, without a doubt, the folklore you're speaking of was demonic.
Oh yes, that has to do with Mount Misery on Long Island. He's been studying that territory for at least 30 years, I want to say, and we've narrowed it down through a lot of scientific experiments that there's a specific location in those woods, like it's literally like cited, like mapped out and everything, of a specific area that has a demonic presence, and it hits, I think, every, I don't even know, 7 years, specifically like on the it's like in the fall time, like the eclipse, whatever it's called, the what is it, too many
Solstice?
words. I think it's a solstice, possibly.
Solstice, yeah.
Whatever it may be. Anyway, there's a pattern. It peaks at a certain time every year when it lines up a specific way, the moon, everything. He's like figured it out down to a T. So those woods date back to, God knows, obviously forever. But during the satanic panic era, there was a lot of Satanism, whatever things that happened in those woods. Mount Misery. A lot of people, that's one of like Long Island's like big spots to talk about when it comes to like our local,
What's that called again?
Urban legends. It's called Mount Misery.
Mount Misery. I'm going to look that up. That's very interesting.
Absolutely look it up. That's one thing I can talk about. The residential case I can't talk about because it was a residential case, but that ended very, very badly, the residential case. So
Oh,
otherwise, when it comes to people in this field, I don't ever get to meet anyone who could ever understand what I had to live through growing up. And I could say 100% that I had to live through a demonic haunting, and I have lived through possession, and it is something that no one could ever wrap their brain around unless they've lived through it.
no, 100%. And let me tell you, the very first time I ever came encounter with a demonic entity, it was inside of a church.
I believe it. I believe it.
And I can still see the people's faces around me. And we had to clear that whole area out because it was the guy sitting directly behind me. And we no one had ever seen him before. We didn't even He didn't fill out a card or nothing like that for the church, did nothing. But the worship music started to play. And the name Jesus came in. And the second that the people around started saying Jesus, he was thrown probably 15 feet into the wall behind him. The chair hit the wall, put a hole into the wall. He hit the ground, and I can literally hear his bones contorting.
Mm.
And he was hissing. His eyes were of a jet black color. He started turning pale white. His breathing, his neck was swelling out so bad, his rib cage was popping.
I believe it. I
So,
believe it.
and not only that, but there's an ancient language that isn't spoken anymore. It's called Aramaic. Aramaic is the language that Jesus actually spoke.
Interesting.
And
I have a lot of
this,
questions about all that.
please reach out to me. Like I said, I've studied theology for 30 plus years. So I am a wealth of knowledge, when it comes to it. But he was speaking Aramaic. He was speaking another language, and two more that we were able to recognize. And not only that, but three different voices. So we knew what we were dealing with. We knew.
Yeah.
Now to get everybody else in the area that we were to understand what they were dealing with, that was the issue. But once we got everybody out of there, then we were actually able to actually work and to really experience what this was doing. And that was a very difficult time because when you want to talk about strength, you want to talk about being like when you're dealing with a true demonic like this, one of the worst things that you could do is be scared.
Oh yeah. And it's
If
so hard
if
too.
you show fear, it's going to show you what real fear is.
That's also something I teach. Intention and going into this work, whether it's demonic or not demonic, you have to. If you're going to this from a place of fear, you're doomed. You're doomed. You have to
Hmm.
go in from a place of sovereignty. It's a
Hmm.
place of just knowing that you are protected, not shielding yourself majorly. If you're putting yourself into that shielding state where you're really trying to protect yourself, you're not protected. It's this feeling of being so calm. It's like having this calm demeanor and just knowing and being like that you are protected, you know?
Hmm. And you've talked about sage and stuff like that. I use frankincense. I use
Okay.
frankincense.
I have frankincense.
Frankincense was used in Old Testament times in the old
Oh yeah.
tabernacles. There used to be the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant hold the commandments of God, and in front of that was the altar of incense. And in the Old Testament, if you were to look at the altar of incense, they were burning frankincense. And during that time, God literally hovered above the tabernacle. And the Bible says
Interesting.
that it was a pleasing smell
Yeah.
to God.
Do you know?
So so I
I love that you're
use
saying that.
and I use frankincense, if I before I go into a location to clear not only myself but my wife, people that are around me, and I use prayer. I also use that to when I go into a place, I say I release any and all negative energies in and around this place, and I replace it with the light, love, peace, and protection of God. And I say that all around the house with the frankincense, and that's before the cleansing ever even starts.
I think that's really important. When I first started to work doing a lot of readings, um, my methods have changed greatly, but I would always bring incense with me. Now I don't anymore. It was more of a habit, not a thinking like, oh, I need this in order for this to work, but it
Mhm.
was just me trying to add a few extra things to make sure that the readings were precise. Now I know I don't
Mm,
need to do that, but that was actually the incense. So I would bring it to people's homes or events or burning it, wherever I was doing the readings that allowed me to burn it. But I would use frankincense and myrrh, like the
yeah,
combination of
yeah,
frankincense and myrrh.
yeah.
And I used it because that is known to kind of call in spirit and because it was used or is still used in the church.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel
We
like a
we
lot of
we
people don't know
deeply.
that.
I
Hey
have a
guys, we
kid.
got about a minute or so before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
Okay.
Bianca, why don't you tell people how to actively get a hold of you? If you've got anything going on, because
Absolutely.
I want people who are watching to be able to contact you and stuff like that. If just tell them how to get a hold of you.
So if you Google Medium Bianca Rose, I'm going to show up everywhere. You're going to see my
Mhm.
Yep.
website, which is mediumbiancarose.com. All social media, Medium Bianca Rose. All of my events are typically posted to Facebook and Instagram.
And I share
Regular
those, by the
bookings are through the website. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do.
Regular bookings are through the website. Most of the events are posted on social media. Occasionally, I'll try to throw it into my website as well. It'll be in the booking system. But otherwise, you can find everything pretty much on my social media. But Medium Bianca Rose, I'm everywhere.
That's amazing. And I just wanted to tell you, you have been an amazing guest. Thank you for coming on. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure
for having
speaking.
me.
It's been so good speaking with you because not only we don't use as clergy, we don't use the term psychic or mediumship and stuff like that. We actually use the term discernment, and
Mhm.
I use discernment also.
you've got a very strong discernment to you, and I feel your aura and your energy is so authentic, and I can
Thank you.
appreciate that greatly. And I felt the
Thank you.
same thing with Shannon too.
Thank you. Thank you. I will definitely come back again and we could definitely talk
Please
more.
do.
That's
And
awesome. That's awesome. We
if
Absolutely.
you
we
want to hold
definitely
on a minute, I'm gonna drop you down. If you want to
Sure.
hold on just a minute, so we can talk
thank you
about.
very much, Bianca.
Yes,
No
thank
problem.
you.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right.
guys, that's Bianca Rose. I mean, that she's phenomenal. If you guys don't know who she is, please go on and check her out. She is an awesome, awesome person. I mean, not only to talk to, but I mean, as far as what she does too. So go check her out. But you guys have a good week. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for showing up on the network. We really appreciate it. But you
Thank
guys have a good week and stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.